Again, this is the final part of discussing the Moscow conference. Now, where we left off, everything was about to go to Hades in a handbasket. Churchill was ticked off, he was ready to leave. Around this time, the Germans were not idle. Hitler had decided and declared that without the oil reserves of the Caucasus region, which is southern Russia, they would not be able to win the war. And he wanted also the grain fields of the Ukraine. And so during this time when Churchill and Stalin are butting heads, he has Army Group South, which is the German 6th Army, which is his largest army, smash through the Red Army defenses and pretty much open the way. This is largely because of Stalin's mismanagement. Make his way toward the Volga and the city of Stalingrad. Now, this is happening, Stalin's knowing all this while trying to hold it all together at the same time, where he's like saying to the British, hey, a little help here, and the British are like, sorry, we can't do much more than lip service right now, but we'll cheer you on all the way. So Stalin was in a difficult situation because, Churchill was ready to jump ship because he was ticked. And so the next day, they're talking again, and Stalin says, why don't we have some drinks? And Churchill said something along the lines of, I'm always for that kind of diplomacy. So they talk and they talk, they start having drinks and they start relaxing a little bit. And then Stalin says, well, why don't you stay for dinner? So he takes Churchill through a labyrinth of rooms to where he finally gets to Stalin's apartment. A little tiny 4-bedroom apartment. Here he has a whole spread laid out, all kinds of different food. He already had this planned. And he had it set up to show his human side to Churchill, as it could be said. And he also went so far as to have the housemaids prepare his daughter Svetlana to make an appearance at this dinner meeting to show more of the human side of Stalin. In fact, he called her out at one point, and he said, "Here's my daughter," and he goes, and Churchill's like, "Oh, I have a daughter who's a redhead too. In fact, I was a redhead when I was a kid." And they started talking about it, and Stalin just gave her a hug and things like that, and just showing, like, Russians, we love our kids too, basically, is what Stalin was trying to say. And everything was going well, everything was going good, and then it turned to military matters, and actually they got a little jovial at the same time, where Churchill started doing a jab, which could have turned out quite disastrous, actually, because he started making fun of Molotov along with Stalin, because Stalin makes fun of you. You can't do anything with that. You just kind of nervously laugh and hope that he's not going to kill you when he's done. And he said they were making fun of Molotov, and Churchill said something that could have been detrimental. When he said, when he was in the United States, he actually made a trip to New York by himself, which was a big problem if he actually did that. And like Molotov is just staring at Churchill like, are you freaking kidding me? But luckily for him, Stalin laughed, and he said, no, it wasn't to New York. He went to Chicago, where the other gangsters are. And so everyone got a good laugh out of that, because Stalin actually took it as a joke that was meant to be. And so they carried on more about that, and just how everything just relaxed, and they showed their human side again. And just by the end of the evening, nothing more diplomatic was really discussed. But at the end of that day versus the day before, Churchill had nothing but good things to say about Stalin. Oh, Stalin this, Stalin that, everything was great. And so Stalin proved in that situation that when he's in a pinch, he could turn on the charm when he needs to. And he's doing that one day in August of 1942. That pretty much saved the Russo-Anglo alliance, because everything could have gone pretty rotten, because Churchill was ready to go home and say, you guys can fight this war on your own. We're going to go do our own thing. And so Stalin actually stepped forward, and he actually made it so to save the alliance. So Churchill was able to go home on a high positive note, and the alliance was saved. So there you go.